This is our first Sunday in November. Our first Sunday in November. And today we're going to talk, it's going to be kind of a really different Sunday. We're going to have a rockin' Sunday. We're going to have a rockin' Sunday. And the oath, I'm going to tell you about the oath that I took to the Promised Land. It's going to be a rockin' Sunday. But first we're going to talk a little bit about news out of China. Because this is getting really, really scriptural. I don't know if you guys knew, but earlier this year in China, there's the Golden Lampstand Church in the Shanghai Shanxi province. It was destroyed by the Chinese police. They come just totally demolish this church. And religious freedom in China has reached really a critical level. It's an absolute critical level as far as religious freedom goes. It's not been like this since the beginning of the Cultural Revolution by Mao Zedong in the 1960s, when he didn't allow Bibles or anything in the country.
They sing Baby Jesus is Sleeping in the Hay. To us, they look like children performing for their congregation. But to the Chinese authorities, they are criminals. Because this is an underground house church, so called because they meet without state approval. While this congregation bravely shared with us what happens when the authorities find the faithful. The police called us evil and arrested us for illegal assembly, she explains. Chinese-born American Sam Chow works in China for religious freedom and researched the dangers faced.
Maybe 40, 50 people, every one of them were beaten and jailed and harassed.
When Mao Zedong took power, he banned religion. Communism was the new faith. These days, the state allows churches, but worshippers must register with police. In this village, they were even building their own church until, as this cell phone video shows, the authorities knocked it down.
But anyhow, control is escalating by using modern technology. Now China has all these cameras. They put cameras actually in your churches. So any churches that are left have cameras in them so they can see who's coming and who's going. So you no longer have any freedom at all. They want to know who attends. And it's a crime if you don't watch state television. So you got to watch state TV. So as in Russia, the excuse for the crackdown is to eliminate extremism. They're eliminating, that's why the government's doing this. This is coming to America. This is coming to Canada. This is coming to Suriname. And detention camps have already been constructed all through China for this crackdown. And they're holding up to 1 million Muslims, Uyghur Muslims, in the western province of Xinjiang. Now, since the Christians, especially members of the unregistered house churches, like you can only do a house church there. If you go to a main church, I mean, you usually get arrested within a few days because they know you're going there. So they're all doing house churches. They're also considered extremists by the government of China. So in other words, if you're caught in a house church, you go into the detention camp with the Muslims. There's just no religious freedom at all. And this is called the government elimination efforts to eliminate extremism. Now, churches are now being forced to hang pictures of XI, I guess that's the president of China or whatever, XI, beside the crucifixes. Crucifixes, well, obviously that's Catholic. And sing communist anthems during the service. In some places, children under 18 are forbidden to attend church, forbidden to attend Bible camps. Bible camps are all being closed. Bibles and other illegal promotional materials are confiscated and burned. They cut you the Bible, they burn it right in front of you. All rivals must be eliminated, including Christians. Party members who have religious beliefs should be given strengthened re-education programs according to the new government regulations. So if you're in the government and you believe in God, you got to go to camp and get re-educated. Some brave pastors tried to resist already, but the persecution has become worse since the government regulations were published. At least 250 Chinese pastors have signed a public statement against the regulations. It closed with, "For the sake of the gospel, we are prepared to bear all losses, even the loss of our freedom and our lives." So for the first time, the people in China are saying no. They're rebelling against the government. They want their Bibles, and the government's burning them. And they want some control over what they do and believe, where they can go, what they can say. It's a sign that something is taking shape in China. And it's called democracy. It's going to be really interesting what happens, unless, the Antichrist appears first and the true believers are gone. Now, decades ago, people of China choose communism as a hollow dream instead of the Bible. Now, millions have discovered the truth and are willing to die for it. These guys are dying for their Bibles now. The book that we so freely read here in this country is Suriname. Just open it up and read it any time. You can't do that in China anymore. So the same war is being fought in many other countries in the world. Satan's time is really short. It's really short, and he's getting really aggressive. He's like mad as a hornet. So handing out a gospel tract can get you killed in some parts of the world. In Suriname, we can just do it. We can hand it to anybody. Some people think you might be offending somebody if you hand them a gospel tract. I tell you, you might be saving their life, giving them life. You can do it freely here. Now, many shed their blood to buy and protect our freedom to this day, including a lot of true Bible believers. Are we grateful enough to exercise this freedom by handing somebody a tract? I think so. I think I'll do it any chance I get. So, can the music, we're going to talk about rock and roll today, can the music get everyone to worship the Antichrist? Can it be done through music? Is that possible? And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to go to the book of John, 1 John 2:18. 1 John 2:18, that's towards the back of the Bible there. 1 John just for Revelation. 1 John 2:18. is little children. It is the last time. And as ye have heard that Antichrist shall come, even now are there many Antichrists, whereby we know that this is the last time. The last time. And he's talking about the end of days, because we're very close. So the Antichrist, he'll come through political means, just like Pope Francis came in. He came in through politics. He came to America, all he did was politics. I taught on that in Calvary Baptist Church. I did a series called I Am Lucifer, 12 parts. And I taught all about that, how Pope Francis was a political leader, not just religious. Now let's go to Revelation 13:7, since we're at the back of the Bible here. Revelation 13:7. Revelation 13:7. And let's look at the what's going on here. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. This guy's going to have power over everybody, every language, every nation. He will do this through the religion of music. The religion of music, did I just say? Is music a religion? Well, all the rock stars say it is. They all say it with their own mouths. Yeah. The religion of music. Just as most people today worship their favorite singers, most unawares. It's true, most are unawares, but you're worshiping your singers. Most people. Now I remember when the Beatles did their first performance back in the 60s. They did their first performance. People were fainting when they were singing. They were worshiping so heavily they would pass out, just like we see in churches today. People passing out from the spirit that's in there. They were passing out. And then I saw it again in the Elvis Presley concerts. The girls, they just pass out when Elvis walked by, just to be able to touch him. And Michael Jackson, the same thing. You see walls of people passing out, screaming, wailing, passing out. It's worship. It's worship. Revelation 13:8. Let's go down one more chapter. 13:8. One more verse. And all that dwelt upon the earth shall worship him. What does that say? A-L-L. All that dwelt. If you're still here after Jesus comes for his bride after the rapture, you're going to worship the Antichrist. Oh, that means Christians that are left here, people calling themselves Christians, they'll be worshiping the Antichrist. Oh, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. Oh, wait, there's some written in the book of life. So there's some people that thought they were Christians that actually picked up a King James Bible and got truly converted. And then knew there was a rapture, who were teaching post-trib rapture. And that's how they ended up with their names written in the book of life. So, but then it's going to be a tough go, a really tough go. So Satan and his familiar spirits are sweeping our countries into this mindset, not only in worldly music, it's all over the worldly music, and today we're going to prove that it's in the worldly music, and you're going to be pretty amazed. It's in the worldly music, but also in the music that's overtaken the churches. It's there too. I don't think we'll be able to get into the church music today, because it's going to take too long, but we will get into it. And all over the Christian radio stations. You turn that station on, it's all I hear is Antichrist stuff. All I hear is Antichrist stuff. You'd literally have to blindfold yourself, put in earplugs and earmuffs on, and walk down the middle of Anton Drachtenwat when there's big trucks zooming by, not to see what I'm going to show you guys today. You're going to block everything out of your mind, and not to see what you're going to see from the artists themselves. Now, we saw the gay flags flying around Suriname during the month of October, many other countries and other months, and the past few years, but how did the people come to accept the abomination of sodomy into our culture today? That we let these people walk down the streets with their flags. We let them influence us. We see their flags on almost every storefront, every restaurant. How did the culture get to this? I'm going to show you guys that today. There's a band called Hair in 1968. You think, going back to 1968, what's that got to do with today? Everything. Everything. It's a setup. It prepared many of us, and most of your parents, most of your grandparents, This band prepared your grandparents to accept these gays walking down the street. Perverts, openly into our societies. What do you suppose they sung to prepare us to accept what we see today? We're going to go to video 1, and it's called Sodomy. Sodomy, by this band called here. Video 1. I might have to get you to pause at certain spots. You want to stop right there? But I'm going to tell you what it says, and then you're going to see these guys sing it themselves. You're going to see it. It says, this is the words of their song. Sodomy, fellatio, cunnilingus, pederasty. You know what all those things are? That's having sex with your mouth and having sex with little boys. Sodomy, it's all sodomy. And pederasty is sexual activity involving a man and a little boy. And you know the LBGT, they added a letter to that now? It's men having sex with little boys. Yeah. Masturbation can be fun. Join the holy orgy. Kama Sutra. Everyone. These singers of hair taught the children to do what you want. Listen to them yourself. 1963 was a setup.
Masturbation can be fun. Join the holy orgy, Kama Sutra. Everyone.
Sex with little boys. They're telling you to do everything God told you not to do. And they're putting it in your hearts. Anyhow, they taught children to do what you want, proclaiming that they're the children's friend. We're your friends. And this is how little kids listening to this, oh, they're our friends. And they start listening to everything. And you're going to see that in this next video here. But, you know, it's just like many are seduced on Facebook today by people called friends that aren't really your friends. How many real friends do you have? And they acted like school teachers and befriended the children.
You know, kids, I wish every mom and dad would make a speech to their teenagers and say, kids, be free, be whatever you are, do whatever you want to do, just so long as you don't hurt anybody. And remember, kids, I am your friend.
They go on like a teacher to teach the children to rebel against their parents. Teach them to rebel and hate authority. This is how it was all integrated into our hearts as children. This is back when your dad was a kid. This is the music that was out. And this is where it started. Now the same band Hair admitted back in the 60s, Lucifer is behind it all. Openly admitted it. Lucifer's behind everything we do and sing.
Lucifer and me. Just like the angel fell, vanished forever to hell.
We're going to go forward and forward with this. We won't be able to do it all today until you see what singers today are teaching you. And you don't even hear it. Don't repeat their words. You're doing oaths. Oaths. Okay, now 99+% of musicians are Satanists. And you don't have to hear it from me. You can hear it from them. We're going to hear it from them. In the videos, I'm going to expose them. They've exposed themselves already. I'm not going to expose them. You're just going to hear them say it. They're Satanists. They worship Satan. Openly worship. And they're teaching you to worship Satan. When you repeat their words, you're worshiping Satan. And that they're possessed. They know they're possessed. They know they're possessed by evil spirits. And they push you into open sex. They're pushing us all into a mindset of open sex where open sex is cool. Do what you will. Do what you want. It leads to bondage and disease. I mean, your Uncle Larry used to tell me, oh, go ahead and have sex, Rod. Don't worry about it. The worst will happen is your teeth will fall out. But I tell you, your grandpa had much worse things than that to say about it. He scared me real bad. Scared me real bad. It's a lot more than just your teeth falling out. It's your mouth rotting out. Now, then there's a guy come up. His name is Mick Jagger. And he sung a song called Symphony for the Devil. Why do you think he called it Symphony for the Devil? And we're going to hear him. We're going to hear him. You can hear him yourself. I mean, if you don't know the song, you'll hear him yourself if you haven't heard it before. But I'm going to tell you what he's singing. We're going to let what he's singing here. And why he's singing it. And what he's doing to you. I'm a man of wealth and taste. Who's that? Who's he introducing you to? Who's speaking through him? He admits that he doesn't even know where his music comes from. Just comes into his body and it comes out. I'm a man of wealth and taste. He thinks talking about himself? Go to Matthew 4, 8 and 9. Matthew 4, 8 and 9. Don't repeat the words these guys are singing, guys. If you hear the music on a radio station or something, you're taking an oath. Have you ever have to open your Bible on your own sometime and have trouble reading it? Oh, you find something else to do, you get distracted. That's why. He's putting this in your heart. You don't want to read the Word of God. You won't want to read the Word of God. Matthew 4, 8. Let's see who's the man of wealth and taste here. Matthew 4, 8 and 9, sorry. Matthew 4, 8 and 9. This is when Jesus was tempted by the devil. And he tried to offer him all the kingdoms of the world. Again the devil taketh him up into an exceedingly high mountain, and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world, and the glory of them. And the glory. Wow. Verse 9, and saith unto him, all these things will I give thee, if thou wilt fall down and worship me. What did I say about all these big stars that came up? I watched them myself. I was at some of these concerts. I turned around. I turned the other way. I felt something was wrong. I was in the KISS concert in Moncton, New Brunswick. I was in some of the concerts. I was some of these big concerts, these big people. I turned around the other way when everyone held up their matches to worship the people. Something's wrong. I knew something was wrong. Well, probably because my dad had me in church 5 days a week. I just knew something was wrong. I turned the other way. Everyone looked at me like I was weird. Well, fall down and worship. They're all falling down and worship him, holding their lighters up, worship him, holding their hands up, worshiping him. Mick Jagger knows who's inside of him when he sings. And you're going to hear that from him himself. You're going to hear him from that. So, anyhow, I'm a man of wealth and taste. Let's see what he says next. Let's see what he says next, Mick. Good old Mick. By the way, he owns the island of Tobago, I think. Right there. Really? Okay, he just said, at his moment of doubt and pain. I was around when Jesus Christ. Was Mick Jagger around when Jesus Christ was on earth? No, he wasn't. When Jesus Christ had his moment of doubt and pain. And that comes from, well, he's crucified, of course. It comes from when he's crucified on the cross. And then what does he say next here? Made damn sure that Pilate washed his hands and sealed his fate. I'd be careful when people call themselves a Christian. You'll know it by their what they're doing for the Lord. Matthew 27:24. Let's look at what Mick Jagger is saying is true. Matthew 27:24. He says, I was around when Jesus Christ had his moment of doubt and pain. Made damn sure that Pilate washed his hands and sealed his fate. Matthew 27:24. And when Pilate saw that he could prevail nothing, but that rather atonement was made, he took water and washed his hands before the multitude, saying, I am innocent of the blood of this just person. See ye do it. Pilate did wash his hands. Everything Mick Jagger said there is true. And he says it's his spirit singing through him. Now, what spirit would that be? So, let's find out who it is singing through him. Pleased to meet you. Hope you guessed my name. Have any of you guessed whose name it is? Well, he tells you in some of his other songs. So how powerful is this music? How powerful is it? You know when Mick Jagger sung this at Speedway in 1969? Yeah, I saw it on TV. 3 people were slaughtered when he sung this song. That's how powerful this music was. 3 people just got slaughtered.
For the devil.
Always happens, something very funny happens when we start that number.
Now, the most popular form of communication today, what do you think it is? Facebook, social media? No, it's music.
You want me to elevate her head? Is anything? Where's the police?
Of course, you can use this.
I don't know, kiss the nurse.
Whatever you need.
Somebody can help direct traffic.
The guy blocked it off. He blocked out with his car.
Mary, can you hear me?
Check her pulse.
Nothing.
Charging at 200.
Clear.
Go, go. Go again.
Charging at 300. Clear. We got her. She's back.
You're not gonna die. We're not gonna let that happen. Watch that monitor.
And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. And the books were opened. And another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books, according to their works. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it. And death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them. And they were judged, every man according to their works. This is the second death. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire.